Hey everyone. Seems my mic was on the whole time. So that's pretty funny. Yes, I am excited about the new Doctor Who though. Uh, I've been curious about where they're gonna go with it. I've been out of the loop for a while now, and a lot of that just happens to deal with showrunners. But you never have enough duck streams. Yeah, and I'm pretty excited about this though. A little apprehensive, but I I don't think it's gonna be bad. I'm gonna be excited to jump back in after so many years. So many years. And I apologize if I was shouting because I was talking to someone in another room. I don't know how much of that the mic picked up. I hope I didn't hurt anyone's ears. Let's get into this. Also, to begin with, completely glossed over this. Duct tape? How is everyone? How's everyone's Sunday going? Mine's going pretty good. I don't know why I'm so pale though. I already did. Dang, man. I already did the camera check and it was fine when I checked it. Not fine anymore. Let's see. What would I miss here? 2 hours into the Lightbearer album reaction, still waiting for Brian to make the connection between Lucifer and Lightbearer. The connection that the album's about Lucifer? I think I made that connection. Am I missing something there? I think I'm on track with everything. Scared myself opening a can of biscuits. Pop is so startling. It happens, man. It happens. Sometimes you just don't expect it. Lucifer is the light bearer. Oh, because he brings free will. Okay. See, and I've also read in the comments that this is part 2 of a 2-album series that kind of ended in the mythology. Am I missing something? The etymology of the name. Oh, so Lucifer means light bearer. And that's why both albums are about him. And I take it the first album is about his fall, right? When he went to war with God and then was cast out. And then I started after that when he decided to take his revenge. Oh, man. Wow. I'm going to have to check out that first one. I'm going to hate myself for doing it. If it's got a lot of the same production, not composition problems that I had with the second one, I'm probably not going to enjoy it. But I still got to listen to it now. I got to get that whole story. All right. Garden work? Yeah. Garden work is so, I don't know, it's physical toil, but it's also just so satisfying when you get to reap your rewards. All that time being put in, and you get to see what it amounted to. Pretty tired and a bit depressed this morning, but the last couple of hours started to get better. That's excellent, man. Hopefully listening to some chill music. Hopefully chill music. Oh, listening to some good music will improve the rest of your morning. Digging and carrying rocks. Man. Talking about physical toil. Currently playing Burnout Paradise. And now I'm torn about wishing between it's a new Burnout and also knowing it's owned by EA and fearing it'll turn into kind of... I'm not going to get in on that. I could talk about Burnout Paradise for hours. It is the perfect open world game, and I wish more open world games had taken ideas from that than from GTA, honestly. Oh, there was supposed to be a third story. Well, Lightbearer needs to get on it. All right, let's start a petition. We got 20,000 of us right here. My Sunday is like most past Sundays, preparing to move apartments in a few. Wow. All right. Well, hopefully that goes smooth. I'm just a lawnmower. You can tell me by the way I walk. I don't know what that means, but I think it's pretty funny. I didn't know lawnmowers had a stride to them. Listening to the stream while working so I can be active. All right. You crave a Burnout Paradise rant from... not today. Maybe I'll make another channel. Critical Rants. That's not a good name. I'm not a good ranter. Critical Thoughts? I don't know. Oh, it's a Genesis song. Alright. Shows how much I know about Genesis. Let's dive in. We should have everybody here by now. We're 5 after 11. Get this stuff up. So we're going to start off today with some Iron Maiden. This one came from Evil. I'll go with some obscure Iron Maiden for now. This was my suggestion for Deep Cuts Week. Enjoy the bass. Alright, that sounds good to me. I'm always down for a good bass time. Burnout Paradise is a bit weird, but once you get into the groove, man, it's good. But you gotta enjoy racing, because that's all you do. That's all you do, just driving a car. All right, let's dive into this. Ooh, interesting harmonic hits right here off the bat. Ooh, yeah. Twitch stream my rants while I play video games. Yeah, I can kind of hear a little bit of Rush there, for sure. Yeah, nice little triplet vibe. Yeah, 100%. Going with the wrong expectations, and it'll let you down. Happens to me all the time on this channel. Very nice contrast between just this chill atmosphere and then really getting into some real nasty, funky stuff. Ramping up the intensity. Yeah. So we're in 6, which actually means they probably weren't triplets earlier.
Sometimes it makes me wonder, sometimes it makes me question, sometimes it makes me sadden, always it makes me
really bringing the whole band together rhythmically. Oh, really getting low for that note.
Another assassination, the same day a new creation. What are they coming into? Security of a world that brings one day another killing. Somewhere there's someone starving, another a savage raping. Meanwhile there's someone laughing at us. It's out of control.
Interesting, so this is actually a tempo change, I think.
Each day it goes on.
Yeah, and I like how they had that, what, strings in the background, I think it was? A little bit of alternating ideas with panning for guitar solos. Yeah, definitely a little bit of Rush right there.
Blood on the
adding that melody onto the guitars. Yeah, I don't know enough from Marillion to comment on that, but I'll take your word for it.
Brutality and aggression. Tomorrow another lesson. Expecting another air raid. Praying for a ceasefire. They say things are getting better. No need to be complacent. There's chaos across the border, and one day it could be happening to us. It's out of control. Blood on the world's hands. It's our epitaph. It's out of control. Someone should know. Blood on the world's hands. Someone should.
Very weird because I think it's very clearly written in 3 or 6. The entire song utilizes this triplet vibe, but there's a couple of sections that I really strongly feel in 4. I don't know if you're following along with some of my head movements there at the end, but I was counting in 4 beats per bar, and it lines up really well outside of the idea. This was a 2015 remaster. Looks like 1995. I really strongly felt this 4 vibe, and it was a little bit syncopated against it, so it's going to be polyrhythmic, but it works, and I don't know why. And that's just kind of phenomenal in my eyes. Yeah, not what I expect from Iron Maiden, though. This is a bit more, I kind of hate to use the word proggy, but yeah, it kind of is. 1 second. All right, and we're back. Yeah, just not what I really expect. It felt very copy paste. Are you talking like they copy pasted from other people's ideas, or just that a lot of it seemed like it was callbacks to other ideas? Definitely around the time they started to shift, even if it's not as prevalent as today's Maiden. I don't even know what today's Maiden is. I just Run to the Hills is what I think of when I think of Maiden. And maybe there's some other tracks I know of. Yeah, the song was very. I can understand that. Maybe there's other popular songs from them that I just don't have related to the name Iron Maiden. Maybe I know the songs but didn't know they made it. But this is just not that. This is it's a little more experimental. They play around a lot with melodic phrasing, right? Which I think is interesting because even the main melody feels like it should really be pushed into a 2/4 idea, which could just be 4/4. But they put this extra space between each of these sentences, and it feels like that it could be developed into 4/4 easily, but they kind of shrunk it down into 3/4. And so it does feel like they took ideas that probably would have fit more into what I typically associate with them melodically and experimented with it a little bit. Again, though, I don't have a lot of Iron Maiden experience, so I could be wrong here, but it's a very interesting sound, especially since Pear was relating it to Marillion. I heard some Rush in there. Um, Not even just the bass work itself, but some of the bass lines I could place from Rush tracks, definitely inspired by. Oh my geez, why is YouTube recommending me Corey Feldman? uh that's not cool. Um, yeah, Dream Theater. Definitely a little bit of Dream Theater in there. I think my biggest problem with the track is their rigidity with the 3/4. I think that some of the sections they should have pushed against it and introduced something that worked alongside it rather than keeping the entire song in 3/4. However, I do appreciate the tempo shifts. It helps change up some of the sections to it. So what I hear here is that it's time for an Iron Maiden theme. I mean, any band that's been around for decades could definitely have a whole theme devoted to them. Most bands are bound to change a little bit here and there across multiple decades, in which case we could find 5 very unique tracks across the eras. So yeah, I mean, I could see that. I don't know if it would be a popular theme, but it's definitely something I'd be interested in, as with any band, as long as a band has multiple eras, multiple decades of music, I'm fine with fully explore, not fully exploring, but deep diving into a single band rather than a theme or a genre. Yeah, see, here's the other interesting thing too is that the intro I really enjoyed, and I really enjoyed the core part of the song as well. I think both of them were fantastic and very well done for what they were doing, right? I can't dismiss the idea that it's very repetitive, as Thoughts put it, that we have the verse. I mean, it's kind of weird to put it that way, but they have the verse and they have the chorus and the bridge. The solo section was, I'd say, it's a bit of an outlier, does its thing, but I think because of the similar vibes and similar sounds and the 3/4 all throughout, it kind of makes everything kind of blur together. But it does follow, a verse chorus idea. And like I said, just maybe if we had shifted something to a 4 or even a 5 and continued to play around with that and have a sort of tempo contrast, because the atmosphere is very similar all throughout. The solo section I do appreciate, though. I thought it was very cool the way that they panned the 2 guitars to kind of separate them spatially. I like how the left pan guitar, when it came in for the first solo, kind of faded in from the side. That was a really neat trick. I have no idea how they did that. It sounded very cool. But yeah, it feels like heavy metal that experimented a little bit, and I can appreciate that. I don't know how far out of their wheelbarrow this was, but it definitely feels like they were maybe a little bit outside of their element, but I think they executed it well enough. And maybe that's why it does feel a little safe for being proggish sounding, maybe on the timbre wise. It sounds like Marillion, it sounds like Rush, just the core vibe of it. So maybe mentally we're just expecting something more complex. And, they went for something that was kind of a middle ground. Maybe they had, maybe they were influenced by some of these prog bands and they're like, oh, we like that sound, we want to experiment with it, but they wanted to stay a little closer to their roots. I don't know. 15 year into their career. Yeah, I mean, if I'm making music for 15 years, you can guarantee I'm playing around with things. Especially a big name like Maiden, right? It's not like failure is gonna cause your career to end, right? Uh, so why not try something new? Get outside your comfort zone, for sure. But yeah, the bass work at the beginning was phenomenal. What I was saying about that is that the intro and the core song itself felt very disjointed. It felt like 2 different ideas. Even though they retained that triplet vibe, but we had that nice contrast at the beginning of like the subtle harmonics against the runs, and I don't feel like we ever explored that in the music itself. So it felt like it was more of the intro and then the song. This is what we really wanted to get to, right? We just had this intro to this other idea that we had that we didn't know where to put in any song, so we're just going to tack it on here. That's kind of what it felt like. But again, it could just be that they were a bit out of their depth, and they pushed themselves a little bit further than they had the skill for in this particular genre, and this is what they came up with, which feels safe. But I think that's fine. You push yourself and you don't perfect it. That's fine, man. It really is. I wish more bands would experiment, or I should say, I wish more bands had the ability to experiment. Especially nowadays with the plethora of music to listen to and the paltry revenue from streaming and record companies taking a majority of the money anyways. Like, I totally understand bands having to do what they do well in order to ensure they can make another album. So I get that not a lot of bands are in a position to experiment, but I really wish it was something we could hear more of. Drastic changes, like what Foo Fighters is doing, and they're definitely in a position to do so. But what did they just put out a disco album or a funk album? I don't remember. And now they're putting out a death metal album. Like, they're just doing whatever they want, and I really enjoy that. Just kind of going out for it, even if it's not perfect. It's trying something new, and I will never ever say that that's the wrong way to go about making music. All right, next up we got Said the Sky, Move with Purpose. Let's see what's going on here. Let's get this volume turned down. And this says it features Oliver the Kid. I don't know what that means. I mean, obviously it features somebody, but I don't know who Oliver the Kid. I don't know who this group is. So I'm in for something new. This comes from Johnny. Says EDM, but not, but kind of. You'll figure it out. So I guess we're gonna figure this out. Let's dive in. Said the Sky, Move with Purpose.
Sing for something, or I don't really wanna know.
Okay. Chord progression, subtle percussion, poppy lyrics, or poppy vocals.
We could wait for you.
Syncopated piano hits.
I could wait for you.
So much sub bass.
Is your heart beating any time other than when you tell it to? Is your head thinking about anything other than what you want it to? I could show you how to move with purpose and feel the world around.
I'm really waiting for the kind of EDM part to come in.
To bring you right back to you.
I love the little touches though. The whistles, the oohs, they appear for like 2 beats, just never coming back again.
Take a risk and give yourself a chance to grow. It's within you, even when you feel low. You just wait, feelings change, it's true. You won't always feel so goddamn.
So wide.
Is your heart beating any time other than when you tell it to? Is your head thinking about anything other than what you want it to? I could show you how to move with purpose and feel the world.
The production on this is definitely the highlight.
Maybe I could be the one to bring you right back to you.
That is some bass. Wish granted.
Maybe I could be the one to bring you right back to you.
All right. So yeah, I can get behind that. It's a nice pop ballad, really tasteful production all throughout. You know, we have the vocals, and we have the chord progression, and then the very subtle percussive element. It's like hand claps or something with a little bit of compression put on them, pushed off to the right. It was a really interesting place to hide the percussion. And that's pretty much the foundation for everything that we hear in the verses. But we hear these little embellishments, little whistles or oohs or chimes or just a lot of things. You know, this is one of the things that I've spoken about before is, well, actually, I haven't taken it to this degree. This is going to give me an interesting opportunity. Very subtle but meaningful production flourishes. Yeah. So, like, you know, we've talked about before that with metal, you can't really take an instrument out without losing an entire area of sound. Your guitars are the mid to high end, your bass is the low to mid end, and your drums are your percussion. That's it. If you remove any of them, you lose that aspect, that entire range of music. Whereas when you look at larger productions, you start looking at orchestras or whatever, you'll have many moments where entire sections are removed. We actually have names for sections that are a variation on something we've heard before with an entire section of instruments removed. So like if we remove the entire, you know, brass percussion section or something like that, we actually have a name for those types of sections. It's so common to have multiple instruments sitting out and resting for multiple bars at a time. And it allows us to kind of control the vibe of specific sections of a song, to control the emotional flow of the song, not just with the chord progression that we go through or the melodic lines, but also just the raw timbres that we're hearing. Different instruments carry different feelings and different ideas. You know, obviously for different people, but there are some more global ones that I think are traditionally associated with specific instruments. And I just made this connection. Electronic music takes that to the next level by saying there is no cap to the number of instruments I can use. And since simultaneously I don't have anybody playing these instruments, it's not going to hurt anybody's pride to play a single beat out of an entire song and then rest for the rest of it. So, you know, it kind of takes that concept and just extrapolates it to the nth degree and says, right here, I want this sound. I'll play it and I'll never bring it back. You know, maybe I want something like it in a couple of bars or the next time we come to the chorus. I'm not going to use the same exact sound though. I'm going to use a variation on it. You know, maybe I still want a chime sound, but I don't want this chime sound. And it's just, the more electronic music that I listen to, the more connections I make to composition techniques in other genres. And it's just wild to see so much of electronic music just kind of being composition taken to the extremities. Or at least it allows for that. Obviously, a lot of electronic music, especially when we get into the dance realm, is just kind of a lot of repetition, at least in my experience, but I don't think that that's the way I want to look at all electronic music. It's definitely a limitless genre. Yeah, and see, that's the warming up for next week's theme, yeah. And definitely pleasant, nice details, and that's what it is. It's little ideas placed throughout. Interestingly, though, the drop felt out of place to me. I don't think it's necessarily the idea of the drop. It was just that super present bass kick. It felt, I mean, maybe, you know, Johnny said that, you know, he's touched by the lyrics, right? And maybe if I dive into that, I could see what this was supposed to mean. But usually bass kicks are just not front and center in my face. And it really felt like it was right here, like I was sitting in front of a bass drum, and they're just hitting the pedal, and the mallet's hitting, and I'm just feeling it full force. The sound waves haven't had time to weaken at all. I'm feeling the actual force of the sound waves itself. Now that you say that, it reminds me of a YouTube video by a French dude made recently about the history and inner workings of a synthesizer. Yeah, that sounds cool. I mean, I don't know a lot about synthesizers. I kind of guessed upon it in a... I can't remember if it was a video or if I was talking to somebody about it. About how, like, all electronic music is just, like, 3 or 4 wave, sine wave and cosine wave, and they just kind of take those sounds and then manipulate them in a bajillion different ways. But I mean, I guess that's how a synthesizer works, right? It's just a wave producer with modulation in it, I think. I don't know. Definitely a video I'd want to watch. Sadly, though, it has no English subtitles. But maybe I can email the person and see if we can't find a way to address that. But yeah, so that midsection, the bridge, just kind of feels out of place to me, just because the drum is very distracting. And I wish it wasn't, but maybe that's just the style and I'm not used to it. Sine, square, and triangle. All right. So I was close. I got sine right. I kind of went in a math direction though. Oh, you know what? That makes sense though, because of the symbols, right? Because the sine wave is like loopy, and then the square is rigid, and the triangle is like a buzzsaw. Got it now. Okay. Yeah, like I said, maybe the lyrics kind of bring that middle bridge to life, but I mean, just to me, the drum is too distracting for me to really get into what's going on there. But I love the rest of the track. It's really gorgeous, has beautiful lines. I love the jumping between the falsetto and the chest voice, and oh, there is a fourth one? Interesting. I gotta check now. Let me see what I have on my synthesizer. Oh, see, whatever. I guess this isn't. Man, there's a lot of things on here. I don't know half of this. I wish I could switch this over, but I don't have that set up right now. I on this one I have triangle, square, sine, and I don't know. There's a lot of places where I can change wave shape. I'm trying to get across all. I have a random one. That's cool. I don't know what that does. I'm gonna have to play with that. It just randomly switches between the wave shapes. And the fish symbol. I don't know what the fish symbol is. Brian's going down the rabbit hole. Sine IPS. Saw wave. Okay, so saw wave is different than triangle. So triangle would be like this, where saw is like the buzzsaw shape, right? I don't know, man. I'm still trying to get into all this. When I'm back in 10 weeks, I'll hit you with some other interesting electronic stuff. All right, cool. I'm always digging to learn. It's this huge blind spot for me. All right, I don't remember what I was talking about. Something about that bridge that wasn't working for me, but I enjoyed the rest of the song, and it's exactly what I want from that style of music. Just really high production quality, high quality production. We're gonna be checking out some Behemoth now. We got some from Donnerwomp. It says, this was the first song where my dumb teenage brain enjoyed the drums and didn't see them as a fancy man-operated metronome. They're by far not the fanciest drums in the world, but they are fancy enough for me to finally see them as real. So this is the song that brought Donnerwomp to the proverbial drumming light. All right, Johnny, have a good rest of your weeks, your retreat, and we'll catch you in a couple weeks. A few weeks, a lot of weeks, I guess. 10 is a lot more than a couple. See you on the next play. So yeah, we got some Behemoth coming in now. I don't know what's going on, but this album art is certainly something. I guess let's just hit it and see what they're going to bring. It's called Demigod, too. It's a pretty powerful name. Some subtlety. All right. Ooh. Speaking about families of instruments having specific vibes to them. Okay. The theatrics are awesome when they're live. I could imagine just based off of this intro right here. Small tempo shift there. Yeah, just hitting those snares. The vocals are wild. They're very forward in the mix, wide. They kind of dominate everything. This song also sounds very, very familiar to me. Lots of fire. The crowd loses it. I can imagine. This is intense. Oh, I kind of remember that. So this looks like it came out in 2021. No, 2004. Okay. Whoa, those snare rolls. Really interesting cymbal work against those blast beats on the snare. Key shift, or mode shift, I guess, technically. So yeah, subtle. That's definitely what this song was. Very in your face, very constant. Is this death metal? Guaranteed to deliver on stage. I could imagine, like, even if they don't physically move, even if there isn't a show, the music itself is so infectious and energetic. I don't see how the crowd could be standing still while listening to it. However, you know, the world's a different place right now. The few shows I've seen post 2015-ish, there's so many people standing still, even at some of the most energetic metal shows, because they're trying to capture it on phones. We're not ranting, right? I already dodged one rant, 2 rants today. We're not ranting about that. This is not a ranting stream. We're going to listen to music and be chill and happy. They created the black death metal genre. Very interesting. They used to be a black metal band, eventually turned into a black death crossover. Kind of stuff I would annoy my dad with. I mean, this is kind of what I perceive to be the stereotypical metal song, right? If you got a filmmaker or trying to put in a metal song for their edgy goth kid character or whatever, or if you just go up to the street and ask somebody, "Hey, what's metal sound like?" I'm pretty sure this is what they would point to. And it's so metal. It's in your face, it's loud, it's texture over melody, it's fast, and it's just constant. There's no breaks. This is so, what is that word I want? It's not stereotypical, but it's just, it's just metal. It is metal. Uh, the trick to not see the people just standing around and be fixing on their phones is jumping into the pit. You can have your phone out in the pit. Oh man, the crazy thing is too is that the pit will form around them, and then so like they'll have their phone up trying to. I'm not getting into a rant. You're baiting me. Oh man, but no, like they just kind of look disgusted. They're like, "Oh, what are you doing? Why are you doing this around me? I'm trying to record." Metal concerts are not what they used to be. Although I say that, and I don't know that I've ever been to a metal concert. Hard rock, heavy rock, metalcore. I don't know if I've ever been to a metal concert. I take that back. I did see Ginger. But like my two biggest bands, metal wise, Human Abstract and Periphery, never seen them live, which is quite a shame. But yeah. They're also the first band I saw with a roadie coming on stage for a song to have four hands on the drums. That's redonkulous. It reminds me of that leprous drum cam we checked out. I don't remember who came by, and they did the tom work so that Baird could continue on with the other side of the kit. Very cool. Yeah, I don't know if I have anything to add to this. This is just very good metal. It's tight, it's constant, it's loud. Metalcore is, I mean, I would say that metalcore is metal, yes. But, also I'm looking at melodic metalcore, Avenged Sevenfold. I'm not sure too many people. Well, let me put it this way: there's some gatekeepers out there who would tell me that I've not been to a metal concert when I bring up Avenged Sevenfold. Um, and honestly, I wouldn't blame them because it was City of Evil days. I think that was the era that I saw them live. So radio friendly stuff. Still, all right. Well, you know what? I'm glad that you're not a gatekeeper, and I'm glad we don't have a lot of gatekeepers in the community. But I do have a lot of gatekeeping on that Avenged Sevenfold track. Both of them, actually. Little Piece of Heaven and the other one we did. I don't remember what it was called. I mean, yeah. Old Avenged Sevenfold, I'll put that in the metal. New Avenged Sevenfold, from what I've understand, like stuff with the theater, I think is what it's called. That's more metal. City of Evil days, though, to me that's hard rock with metal aspirations, kind of. But what do I know? It's metalcore. I think it really depends on the album or the music, because metalcore, from what we learned during Metalcore Week, is a very broad genre. I'd say definitely if you're looking at 90s metalcore, I'd put that in metal. 2000s melodic metalcore, a lot of that got radio time, and I don't think it's quite as heavy. But I'm also generalizing too. I'm sure you could find me a melodic metalcore that came out in the 2000s or 2010s. That would be very metal. I try to be a very humble gatekeeper. Yeah, see, that's the other thing too. Like, do we count heavy metal? To me, heavy metal's very light. It's definitely not metal, but I'm also comparing, metal that was heavy during its day that just isn't comparatively, but it was still heavy at one time. It should still be metal, right? In which case, metalcore is definitely heavier than it. I don't know. It's interesting. You know, music evolves, and I think the way we frame it changes, and that's also going to introduce people who draw the line at different places as well. Oh, I totally forgot about true metal. Obviously, we already have a standard for what is metal. It's got to be true. Um, but yeah, so just real solid track here. I do want to talk about those vocals though. They are very present, very forward. They dominate everything. It's a very interesting style of production on growls that I just don't hear a lot when you guys present the style of music to me, or you know, anything that's related to it. Yeah, exactly. Like it's not clear cut. It like you yeah, like you said, depends on the band and even sometimes a specific song. Metalcore is just a huge genre. General tolerance to heaviness increased a lot. Yeah, for sure. I mean, general tolerance for everything has increased a lot. Elvis Presley was acting too sexy on stage while swinging his hips, and he was banned from TV broadcasts. I think some channels did. And now look at the music videos we have. So, yeah, general tolerance for kind of everything has been pushed real far, but definitely heavy. Yeah, I mean that too, right? The Beatles were heavy at one point. Um, they were too wild, too wild of rock and roll to too bad of an influence on kids. So heavy metal is now rather see that's why like when we were talking about let's see if I still have it here. Nope. We listened to oh, you know what? It was Striper. And I said I didn't know what to call them. And somebody in the comments was like, they're pretty close to heavy metal. And I'm like, it dawned on me that I don't know what heavy metal is because heavy metal to me is implied by the heavy aspect. And it never really dawned on me until this moment that heavy metal is a genre that was heavy for its time. Whereas usually I use it more colloquially, more lowercase than capital. It's metal that's heavy, which is definitely more of a modern thing for me. But yeah, so I learned something this week that heavy metal is actually rather light by today's standards, but it's still what the genre is called for that era of metal. I think I'd be down for heavy metal week, and Maiden would count for that, so we'd get a little bit of Maiden in there, I'm sure. One thing I do want to bring up though with this track before I move on, I said it felt very familiar. And there's multiple sections in here that reminded me of riffs or ideas from Ginger's first LP, Cloud Factory. Cloud City is a Star Wars thing. Cloud Factory. In fact, the two songs I think that kind of stand out to me are Plus or a Minus and Where When Two Empires Collide. I think those are the two that kind of stand out. Maybe even No Hoard of Value. I got to go back and listen. And I wonder, because the Ginger lineup for this album is very different than the the guys we have today. The drummer was different. They had an extra guitarist. Actually, I think that's the two big things. They have a different drummer and another guitarist. Um, and I wonder if Behemoth was a big influence on this earlier era of Ginger because there's just a lot of similarities here. So that's why I was wondering about the time frame of this, because I wanted to see which one came first. But yeah, I don't know if anybody else heard that. I don't know if anybody else listens to older Ginger, but yeah. We're going to be moving on. We got, I don't know how to pronounce this next group. The song is called Black Mirror on the Wall, and the band is Something Records, or Something Records, maybe. And slipping a bit here. All right. Oh, Akatsuki Records. Okay. This was from Taraneka. For context, Renko Usami and Maribel Hearn are the protagonists of Zun's music CDs and live in near future Japan. They're an occult research club, and through Maribel's power, they travel to Gensokyo, where most of Tohu takes place, a few times. You said that to add context, but I think I'm more confused coming out of this. So let's get into it and see what's going on here. Yeah, we're good. Those are words. That's kind of how I felt. Like, I kind of understood what's going on, but... Ooh. That heavy breathiness. Ooh. Okay, like, right off the start, I'm digging this. All of it. A lot of energy. I love that staccato line in the background on the strings. That's kind of lining up with the snare accents. Really nice. Really warm bass underneath this, creating tension, bringing the whole thing up. And the cool thing is we've seen a few variations on the same idea so far. Really nice effect on that line. Playing with the EQ, the panning, the volume, all of it. Yeah. Pulling us into this 3/4 to increase intensity. Merging the two, alright. It's really cool to hear music in that style still coming out. To me, it feels very early 2000s, late 90s electronic pop kind of stuff. But it's done with modern production. Good thing the lyrics are sometimes written in the video. Yeah, I really like how it's paired with modern production. So we get sort of the electric grooves and just that overall energy coming from the specific instrumentation. It kind of has sort of that edgy 90s extremeness to it, that awesomeness, the radness. But it's done so with, like I said, the modern day production, where we have great use of sound sphere. We have little embellishments here and there of singular items that never come back. And it's just done so well, and it has this constant contrast between that energetic moment and sort of the more serene, pensive concept, and the pairing of them at the end, beautiful when it came together. Just really well done overall. I have no idea what was going on lyrically. Video wise is very confusing, but I suppose that's because I'm not entrenched in the Tohu lore. So I guess that's going to be lost to me. As Necklace said, it kind of takes a few fan theories, so explaining it all would take some time. And you know what? That's fine. Maybe one of these days, the handful of Toho fans in the community will eventually get me to play the games, and maybe I'll get sucked into the lore, and I'll be the next lore enthusiast in the server, in the community. I don't listen to this kind of music, but I gotta say it was kind of catchy. Yeah, 100%. It kind of feels like rock electronic. Like I said, kind of that early 2000s electronic vibe, where it kind of has that electric guitar rock vibe to it. Plus, giving all that fuzz and compression into the faster spoken part kind of gave it, a harsh vocal kind of edge. So, I don't know. It all kind of just comes together nicely. I would be down for that, honestly. First of all, Zun is a fantastic composer. He always finds the perfect way to inject his storytelling themes into his music. I don't ever know that coming out of it, but the two times we've had Zun on the channel, people in the comments have been like, man, you nailed exactly what this boss fight was about, or you nailed exactly what this song was referencing. I'm like, I don't even know. I'm just telling you what I'm hearing. Like, Zun's putting this message in the music. I'm just extrapolating it. I'm just translating it. So yeah, like I really dig the way that he composes. But I'm also always flabbergasted at the community around Soho. Just because, they have fan games. They have so many covers of the music, and the covers are sometimes their own identity. Like we explored in Covers Week when the song was like, it was one part a cover of what we already heard, but I also found out that it used ideas from another song to craft, to like pull like the story together and make it more complete in this track, while also like informing fan theories. I don't even know, like, the whole community just blows my mind. Another video game soundtrack week. I don't know if you guys know about this. I don't know where I learned about him, but there's this dude named Atlas who does what I do. He listens to a song fully, no pauses, and then after that analyzes it and talks about the different things that are going on in it. And he has his guitar out, and sometimes he'll play back some of the ideas without distortion or compression, so you can hear the music itself. And he only does it for video game music, though. Real smart dude. I really enjoy checking at him, his stuff out. If you guys are interested, I can link you to that. It's Atlas, but I think the A is not like the letter A. It's just like a big caret, so I'm not sure what the character is called. But yeah, I'm definitely down for more video game analysis, if that's what you guys are down for. But if you need your fix right now, that dude's where to get it. I approve of his channel. Shared color theme and a connection through Zun mentioning Lafcadio Hearn once. So Maribel Hearn to, the song video. Oh, okay. I missed the first comment. I was like, I'm missing something here. It's about Renko becoming lost and causing Maribel to improve her powers to the point of her becoming one of the major players of Gensokyo. There's a shared color theme and a connection through Zun mentioning these characters. Alright. Very interesting. Like I said, it's so interconnected. It's a deep rabbit hole right here, and I'm appreciative of that. Brian, seal of approval. Yeah, like I said, if you guys want, I'll give you a link to his page in the Discord, but it shouldn't be that hard to look up. Next up, we got some Tides of Man. Oh, I pushed the wrong button. I was like, it's not changing. We got Every Nothing is the track. No, that's not right. I gotta find the track then. Whoa, that's big. This is from Christopher. It says, little change of pace from my usual recommendations. I love post-rock. There's a ton out there, but this album has a special place in my heart, both the song and album writing, and just what was going on in my life at the time. The song is and was and still is important to me. The entire album is brilliant. The emotional flow is beautiful. Thanks for checking it out. So it's called New Futures, which is this one right here. Okay. Let's dig into this. New Futures, Tides of Man. Let's go. Ooh. Ooh. Okay, I'm feeling this now. It was a strange change, but I'm getting the pattern. Really warm. Very soothing and calming. Post-rock, staying inside of one idea, slowly building up. Hey, these guys are from right around the corner. They're from Tampa. There's definitely a bit of longing that has been introduced in one of these lines. I'm not sure which one it was, but it's still warm, it's still comforting, but it's not as bright as it started. I love those brim hits. Ooh. Yeah, so we got 11 against 8. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, so that's cool. I don't know exactly what they were going for here, but what I kind of get from the title, New Futures, there's this longing, as Artist Circle put it, a nostalgia there at the beginning. And I think it's kind of like it could either be looking back on the past and having that moment at like 2.5 into the song where we shifted to the final moment, be a way of saying, I'm not going to look to the past anymore. I'm going to look to the future, what's ahead of me instead of dwelling on what's behind me. Um, and it's really cool then because, yeah, I was not expecting that to be over as soon as it was, even though I knew it said 4 minutes right there, like I saw it. It's not like YouTube where the time gets hidden when it's played, but yeah, definitely short. This is the kind of post rock I like. Although, actually, in this case, I will say it is a bit too short. I felt like it ended prematurely there, which is very uncharacteristic for me with this kind of music, but I was really digging where we were going at least. But yeah, like, it was cool then that they take the same foundation, right? We get the drumstick rhythmic component that we started the track with, and we start the second section with it as well, almost as saying that this is, going to be the future that we go from here, but I learn from my past. I'm going to take stuff that I had and bring it with me. You can't just start brand new, right? You are the actions that have led you to where you are. Very cinematic. Yeah, I can agree with that. The one thing that I really like that stands out to me, I'm sure, a lot of people are going to say the atmosphere. Yeah, I think they do a fantastic job at crafting emotions. I'm pretty sure that has to be on your resume if you're a post-rock band, right? Creating emotional atmospheres and being able to like find the little nuances so that it's not just a happy song or a sad song. You're really diving into complex ideas. That's the basis of a lot of post-rock for me. It's one of the huge things that I enjoy about it is that they can dig into these more nuanced feelings. And they usually do a fantastic job of it. But for me, it's the ending. So they're working within 2-bar phrases of 4/4. So we have 8 beats. That's our core idea. No different than the first section. But we have this cymbal hit that puts 11 strikes into this 8-beat section. And it gives it this 8 versus 11 concept. And it is fascinating. And it forced me to look at what else the drums were doing. And I kind of wish I had paid more attention in the first half, just in case they had done something like this, just less in your face. Because the cymbal being hit for the 11 beats was just very prominent. There's no way to miss it. And then we look at the snare, though, in the second half, and we're getting emphasis. If we're looking at the 8-beat phrases, we're looking at emphasized hits on 3, and then 6, and the and of 7. I think that's what it was. We had one emphasis in the first beat. It was on, or in the first bar. It was on 3. Pretty standard, especially if we're looking at 2-bar phrases and we're going for more of a subtle, slower attack. 1 hit per bar makes sense, and I was really expecting possibly 3 and 7. So the second to last beat of each bar makes perfect sense. But here we have the 1 hit in the first bar, which kind of feels a bit lethargic because we don't get the strike on beat 1. It comes in way late, but then we get 3 strikes, or 2 strikes, I think. I think it was actually 3 in some sections in the second bar. And it's this driving energy forward before we kind of lean it back and rest on that third beat again. And it's just really beautiful to have this struggle, this push and pull against the familiarity of the rim hits and the tension of the unfamiliarity of the 11. And it's just this beautiful concept that to me showcases a future that is filled with uncertainty but is based on the past. Like all future is. I think they just do a really good job diving into that. At least that's what I got of it. Like I said, I don't know if that was their intention, but that's what it feels like to me. Being at a crossroads and deciding that you're not going to look towards the past anymore. You're going to focus on what's ahead of you, and what's ahead of you can be daunting. It can be things you've never heard before, seen before, experienced before, but you got to meet them head on. And it's going to be tough. You get the struggle there. Sometimes you don't want to move forward, but You have to. Really beautiful track. Next up, we've got, oh, we only got 4 more to go. Oh, we got something from Thoughts. It says, Ida Maybelle. This is from the slowcore genre. I don't know what that is, man. Which I also think you've not really heard before. I haven't. It's basically sad indie rock. Okay. Let's get some sad indie rock in here. The post-rock song was short, and the indie rock song is just barely under our 7-minute cutoff. Alright, let's dive into this. That's me! Yep, it certainly is. Yeah, like I said, let's see what's going on here. So let's check out this slowcore. I mean, it makes sense. I'm going to slow down a song, it's probably going to be pretty lengthy. Why confuse people with stuff like slowcore and death metal? Let's just have a long description of what it is. You know, I was kind of expecting something slower. What is that, like 110? 120? That's not slow. Oh, it's 140. Yeah, that is not slow at all. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. It does have the vibe of slowness, right? It's just real chill. It doesn't have driving momentum. I think that's what it is. It's not necessarily the tempo, it's the momentum. I mean, even like focusing on their melody lines, they really hold on to these notes for a long time. So it lacks drive, I think. Harmonies are so good. Yeah, I love the way that they're rhythmically syncopating off of each other. It's just really gorgeous too.
Everything was clear. I wanted you to see, but don't answer. Where the word
Real nice jump there.
only.
And I think the right guitar just changed its melody.
Will be right.
Reading minds. Yeah, I mean, Definitely, we're both in agreement there.
Could do it all again. Would you still look right through me? What if you could make another life? What if you could make another life? Would you still have me by your
I love the way the cymbals kind of dancing around over there occasionally. Those subtle movements in the lower voice are so good. This would have been so good during Vocal Harmonies week. I mean, I think I was mostly happy with what we got out of it. So I don't know what I would have replaced to put this in, but it would have been so good. A Behemoth level of subtle. Oh man. Yeah, that was just gorgeous though. Also, it sits in a single vibe, the whole track. It pretty much has just one section. We have multiple layers of it that we introduce and pull back to achieve different emotions, and it is rather lengthy. I vote that this is post-rock. What do I know though? I'm always wrong with genres anyways. But yeah, just gorgeous from start to finish. I love what they're doing here. The vocal harmonies are definitely what drew me in, but I also love what's going on with the guitars. They're doing just as much harmonic work as the vocals are doing, but they're kind of doing it in a syncopated manner. I think it would be really interesting to pull the left guitar off the off beats and put it on the on beats and hear what kind of dyads we get out of the two guitars. The only reason I think it's a little harder to hear it here is that the left guitar does play off beats quite often. It creates a syncopated feel where it's sort of a back and forth. Seems like the sort of music that could be used both for passive listening and to get fully immersed in. Yeah, I mean, I could see that 100%. It is subtle enough all around that you can easily just kind of tune it out and have it as background music, but I think it's very emotionally engaging. Even though it's not, well, I mean, I was going to say even though it's not musically engaging, but the two guitars have a lot of movement to them. So the genre is indie, not post-rock, but close enough. See, I think you're on to something here. We don't need shortened terms. We need paragraphs to explain the music we're listening to. When you put it like that, I knew exactly what I was getting in for. And I didn't need to go look it up. But yeah, the vocal harmonies, that's what draws me in right here. It's just gorgeous work all throughout. And I love the little flourishes, the little touches. I wish the higher vocalists got to do a couple more of them. There was one moment where they were like pretty close together, and then there was a huge jump, and we got a lot of distance between them. And the higher vocalist actually resolved the line up a half step, and it really felt phenomenal. But I think that was the only time that they really got to do any sort of change to the notes during a long held one. Whereas at the end, we had quite a few moments where the lower vocalist would kind of have these little runs that were really nice, but I just wish it was divvied out a little more evenly. But yeah, this is definitely something I'm going to have to check out more of. Not always in the mood for it, but I think when I would be, very few things that would scratch the itch. It's just so well done. And the cool thing is too is that it doesn't feel like there's very much production on it at all. Despite it being a studio recording, it feels like I just went to an acoustic show. You know, there's nice placement and EQing of everything, but it also just feels like a bunch of acoustic instruments being played. And it's really nice that way. Next up, we got some LAZULI. I'm pretty sure this is Pear's pick. Oh, that's a bit small. It is Pear's pick, though. Gotta share the great way fantastic, eclectic French prog band LAZULI used to end their concerts. I don't know if they still do. Cool fact about LAZULI, the song is called Nine Hands Around the Marimba because one member hurt his left arm irreparably in an accident. He then constructed a unique instrument reminiscent of a Chapman stick, but totally different in construction. He plays it to great results, but we won't hear any of that in this pick. If you want to see that video, it is in the live stream channel on Discord. Parrot posted it. The instrument is pretty cool, but it is neat that they have 5 people around the marimba, but only 9 hands, so they named the song that. The guy on the far left is the one-handed contributing member. All right, let's dive into this and see what's going on. Pretty interesting story around that. Can't wait to hear what they're doing. I mean, I love the marimba. I bring it up all the time when we're talking about bell-based percussion, pitched percussion. I have played the marimba in 2 different shows, both of them marching bands. I love the marimba. It's a very warm, beautiful instrument, and I'm excited to dive into this. So let's see what's going on after I set the audio correct. All right. Getting the harmony in there. What'd I tell you about it being a warm instrument? I like how they're taking this one rhythmic idea and just really expanding it. Real playful bunch, digging their chemistry. Real beautiful. I love that. Oh, it keeps going. Very cool. And it looks like they got guitars and 2 drum kits set up. I wonder what kind of music they... I mean, you said it was prog rock. That's right. My memories... My short-term memory's going. It's only 4 minutes ago. Yeah, I mean, that's the other thing to think about, too, is that if we had 5... Yeah, if we had 5 different bells set up, it would be totally different. But here, they have to orchestrate their hits between everyone around them. Make sure they don't actually accidentally, make anybody else make a hit or get in the way of somebody else. So there's definitely a lot of coordination going on to get so many people set up on a single marimba. But yeah, I mean, it's real gorgeous. I like how they start with a simple rhythmic idea and they expand upon it in a few levels, and then they expand upon it not just with layers, but they also expand upon it melodically and harmonically, as well as they shift the key around. Yeah, not too much to analyze, especially since they repeated this one idea a couple of times. I wish they had taken it in just a few different directions, but as you mentioned, only one of them is a professional marimba player, so it's possible that this is sort of as far as their skill level would allow them to go. But they did switch it up and bring in Gautier, someone I used to know. So I don't know. I kind of think that the song could have been pushed a little bit, but at the same time, it's also sort of just a cool thing to do at the end of the concert, as you stated. So I guess it doesn't need to be a full-on song. It's just more of a cool little way to end the day out, the show. But yeah, I love the marimba. I hope you guys, if you've never heard of marimba before, I hope you know why I love them so much. It has the brightness of like a glockenspiel or a xylophone, but since they're typically made out of very large wood blocks, there's just warmth, this beautiful warmth to them. Should have rickrolled the crowd. Man, that's just what everybody should do, right? Anytime you introduce a song, it should always be "Never Gonna Let You Down." I don't even know if that's the name of the song. That's what it's called, right? I don't know. You guys wait though. Maybe that's what I'll do during a live stream, just out of nowhere. We'll go ahead and dive into that. You guys won't even know it's coming. Ooh, what if I analyzed Rick Astley? Wouldn't even know. Wouldn't even know. Never gonna give you... Oh, that's what it is. See, it's been so long since I've listened to it. Obviously, I'm not a good interneter. Or maybe I'm too good of an interneter. And I know when I'm about to be rickrolled. You never know. We're going to check out some DADAROMA, I think is how that's pronounced. I don't know how to pronounce the 1st of April analysis. That'll be 2023. What is that called? April Fool's Day. I don't know. I like the April Fool's Day I did this year, but I think getting Rickrolled would be an interesting one. Even better, I have a year to find an outfit that looks like his blue suit, I think it was. I don't remember. Like I said, it's been a long time since I've seen that video. I can get my hair like that, get a wig or something, and do some fancy editing. We can have Rick Astley, Brian, push me out of the way and take over the channel. Getting some ideas here. Yeah. The title is,雨の Waltz. I saw it was, why is that so small again? Dustin said, here's one from DADAROMA. I guess on a Stinky Father is another understanding of that. The song's called Waltz of the Rain. Yep. I'll leave to you whether it's an actual waltz or not. Okay. So let's see if this song is in 3/4 with an emphasis on the first beat. That's kind of all a waltz is. There's some other elements to it to make it feel more waltzy. There was a track we checked out recently, this year I think, that I said by all reason should be a waltz, but didn't feel waltzy. But, we'll see what these guys are doing. Well, we have Rain, so we have half of the title. That's actually a gorgeous... Oh, I've never thought of that. To legit start a song with rain sound effects. So far, it feels like it's in 4. Yeah, this took a major turn. Very abrasive. I don't even know what that means. Okay. I gotta see that drummer again though. That was... There's something interesting with the way they were playing this chorus. Man, it looked like a really interesting arm position. Did not look comfortable at all. Little flourishes on the cymbal, that was nice. The panning whisper, definitely working on that creepy vibe. Again with the panning, they're really digging those vibes. longer the song goes on, the less heaviness there is for you, pair.
忘れかけてた夢を見た
Ooh, the string and the horns coming in there.
一粒すぐい上げ眠る君の胸へ
I wasn't sure if they were gonna go for another heavy section or not. Give me that same fake out they gave me at the beginning. No, this was not a waltz. There was one moment in it that I felt that it might have been in 3, but I'm just going to kind of lean towards it being triplets and 4. The entire song's in 4/4 though. There is no waltz in here at all. Yeah, I mean, the song, it's kind of all over the place. They find ways to introduce complexity in all of their sections. The first time the chorus came around, it was sort of flat, really driven by the vocals. The guitars went from doing 2 different ideas, doing counterpoint among themselves from the heavy section, to both of them just playing chords. And we went from bamboozled? You mean bamboozled? I mean, kind of bamboozled. Maybe just bad titling. Yeah, I think I'm a huge fan of Japanese metalcore because this reminds me of, I mean, it reminds me a lot of Deer and Grey, and of course, after you guys had me check out Vinushka, something like that. I went out and grabbed the Ouroboros album, and I really dig that. And there's been a few of these just wild. Let me see if I can pick up anything. Oh, Bulls Zaichen 88 is a band I want to check out that you guys have showed me from the live stream. None of these others are kind of. Oh, Soku Ninaru. They're not metalcore. I think that's the math rock trio. But they kind of had that same vibe where it's just constant shifting between ideas and just really high production quality on all of it. So not the same music, but a lot of the same reasons I want to check them out. Yeah, I think that's it. Probably need to add more though, because I'm sure there's more than that. Maximum the Hormone. Yes. I forgot about them. They're another band I need to check out. You guys have shown me a couple of them. We've had 2 or 3 on the channel, and I'm sure they've shown up in live streams as well, at least once. That's a band I need to dig into because, you know, much like this, it's just a lot of, oh, Wendy. Oh, wait, was that, that was the name of the song, wasn't it? I don't remember anymore. Oh, yeah, that was from Bullseye. I don't know why I remember that title. But yeah, this song was bonkers wild. And then there was the other one. Oh, this one was it, where they were in the white padded rooms. Yep. Yeah, this music video, I need to dig into this band. That one has stuck with me. Yeah, there's just something about the Japanese metalcore scene that kind of takes the same ideas from Western melodic metalcore, kind of jumping back and forth between textural rhythmic stuff and more melodic driven stuff, and they just kind of ramp it up to 11 on both sides. Their heavy stuff tends to be a bit more, not always chaotic, but just more diverse. There's more experimentation going on with it. And their melodic side, to me at least, just tends to have more layers. I mean, even right here, we incorporated strings and some light brass into it just to change it up and separate it from a lot of other typical metalcore songs that do this same formula. And they typically, from what I've heard also, they don't utilize the ABABCB pattern as commonly. It is still something that pops up a lot, but it's just, it feels to me, unless you guys are just giving me a very progressive structurally progressive set of Japanese metalcore songs to listen to, it feels like they just use it less often than Western metalcore does. Yeah, they definitely have a different way to approach music than the West does. Sir, this is a Wendy's. That would be me, right? But instead of like yelling about random stuff or politics, I would just I'd be talking somebody's ear off about the intricacies of music. And I'd be like, "Sir, this is a Wendy's." I'm like, "Yeah, I know. Don't you want to hear about I don't know, some obscure black metal band that 2,000 people in the whole world have heard?" Oh man. All right, we're going to get into this. Looks like I'm dropping frames though. Let's see if this stabilizes or if I need to change something real quick. It looks like it's stabilizing. So I think we're going to finish this out since we only have one more to go. We're going to look at some Stardust. Scardust. It does not look like it's stabilizing. All right, give me 1.5 minutes, 93 seconds, and we're going to get this going back again. All right, is everyone here? That was not 90 seconds, but we are definitely back in the green. No more dropped frames. Let's finish this off. It's stabilizing the number of dropped frames. All right. We got Scardust ahead of us. This one comes at us from Skull Collector. No context. And you know what? I respect that. Let me go in blind and see what's going on. Although I think I've heard Scardust before, haven't we? That's not going to work. That is Brianception. Okay. I thought I had my studio page open that I could check on my past ones, but apparently I don't. That's fine. We're just going to dive into this then. And I, under the assumption that I think I may have heard them already at least once. You've done one instrumental from them. Oh, that'll be interesting. I know of Scar Tex, but not Scardust. All right, well, let's dive into this. And let's see what's going on with Scardust. Let's fix this audio real quick. Bam. All right. Yeah. The only reason we're doing this is because I had to redo all the schedule and put a new day in. Okay. Very forward placed in the cleans. I would love to hear a live version with these quick shifts in the style. So weird. It's so bright and uplifting. It's definitely symphonic metal, but I'm just so used to hearing that paired with operatic vocals that to hear this forward-placed pop vocal is very cool.
Wind will hit my sails, waves will push me forward.
Ooh, that bass.
Someday they'll tell my tales of million dreams of torn and conquered on my own. When midnight comes, starts another day tomorrow. I will be gone away.
So we're 9/8 for this section. You know, for being a harsh transition, that worked really well. This part reminds me of Arch Color? Color Wheel? I don't remember. Oh.
I will say on my own from now on. Strangers we have become. I will say on my own from now on.
I'm loving this music video too. Like just random places to play.
Strangers we have become. I will say on my own from now on. Strangers we have become. I will say on my
The
own
key shift, real nice.
strangers we have become.
Although I don't think that this is any higher than it was, so we actually shifted a key down to get to that last section.
Strangers we have become. I will say on my own from now on. Strangers we have become. I will say on my own across the seas. Strangers we have become.
So here's something interesting. Well, this isn't interesting. I really enjoyed that. What is interesting though is y'all talking about this getting into power metal territory, and I don't hear that at all. And maybe that's just because I'm not real big into power metal. I don't have a lot of experience with it. I hear jazz fusion. It's jazz fusion that kind of wants to lean into pop territory at times, but still retain the progressive progressive technicality that jazz brings to the table. And it sits in this weird section of being prog rock, but jazz, but pop. And I'm not quite sure I've warmed up into it, but I really enjoy what I heard. I'm definitely going to be listening to more of this and seeing where it takes me. Now, with that said, I totally understand people who had a hard time getting into this. I mean, here's the one big thing that kind of pushes it more towards jazz fusion for me is the brightness of the chords, right? It's missing that heaviness that a lot of metal typically has, and I'm including power metal in that. Power metal, while it might have more energetic, upbeat stuff to it, it still uses some of the darker chords that blues has lended to metal as a whole. This feels right in line with electronic or pop music, really having a lot of the brightness in the keys. And I think that kind of changed it. I don't really hear power metal either. Yeah. Bordering... See, like I said, maybe I just need to listen to more power metal. What you guys have had me listen to so far, I don't hear much of in here. I mean, I'm trying to compare this to stuff like Glory Hammer, and I'm not really seeing that. Jazz fusion is something completely different for me. It includes much more improvisation. Yeah, see, okay, what I want to say here, because when we did Jazz Fusion Week, I had the same thing. Jazz fusion is actually two genres as far as I'm concerned. Much like original metalcore and the 2000s melodic metalcore, which really couldn't be much more different in sound. There's a lot of the same underlying techniques, but they're sonically different. Jazz fusion had two ideas to it as well, where it was prog rock bands taking jazz concepts and writing jazzy rock music, which I think is where this kind of falls in line. And the other side, which is what I was expecting getting into the week, because I thought it was the only style of jazz fusion, which was jazz music moving into the realm of rock, like what we saw with Miles Davis in the late 80s and 90s. Um, and so this is more of the former. What I mentioned is prog bands getting into the jazzier sound, introducing more jazzier chord progressions and sometimes even instrumentation into structured music, not actually utilizing too much of the improvisational side of jazz. So you're all wrong. The genre is cheery poppy rock with cool bass line, high-pitched female vocals, and a pinch of growls. Damien's nailing it again. I don't know why we use this other genre system. Uh, Never heard of it as jazz fusion. Yeah. It's one of those things that I wish we could separate, right? I wish we had two different terms, but when I went and looked it up on a few places, jazz fusion covers kind of both eras, both sides, rock becoming jazzier and jazz becoming rockier. So it's a fusion of the two, I guess. So it does cover both sides. But yeah, when we had Jazz Fusion Week, we got a lot of rock bands doing jazz stuff and not a lot of improvisational work with rock feeling to it. And I was a little underwhelmed by that, but yeah, one of those learning moments for me to be a bit more concise and maybe talk about genres the way that Damien does. So, yeah, really great week though. Or great week, really great day. We had a great week too with hip hop. Interesting stuff all week. There is going to be, I should probably put this in a post or something. There's going to be a small change to the way that next week works. Instead of starting with the top three and then doing two random ones, I specifically chose a song that's going to take, I believe it's the lower random pick or higher. I don't remember which one it is. I don't remember if it's in the top half or the lower half. It'll be the random one. It's going to take the slot. It's coming first on Monday. Tuesday through Thursday will be 1 through 3, and then I'll do randomness for the final 5th day for Friday for the not rock or metal theme, because as Outer Circle I think pointed out, one of the songs for next week is called Mothers, and it fits really well with today being Mother's Day in the US, so I really wanted that to be tomorrow. So we'll get into that. I don't know if it particularly has a lot to do with Mother's Day topics, but Arter Circle said that I think it was Arter Circle said that it fit in really well with Mother's Day being today in the US. So I'm putting it there. I'm making an executive decision to not roll the random one for that slot. Yes, always a great stream. Fantastic stuff. I don't know what to call this one. Oh, so I think it was Arter Circle. I was right. Yeah, I'm looking forward to recording that one later today and seeing if it has resonance with this holiday. I'm not sure what to call this week though, other than the fact that every song Damien came up and said, "Should we make a theme out of this?" That's the only thing that really was a strong pattern today. So kind of all over the place musically too. I don't know. I'll figure it out. That's my job. That's what I do. You guys have a fantastic rest of your day, rest of your week. I'll catch you guys tomorrow. We'll be doing some not rock and metal, looking at some more special selections too. All right. Thanks everyone for coming out, hanging out with me this Sunday, whatever, morning, afternoon, evening. Awesome. And catch you guys later.